course, some blues clubs, and people were trying to kind of get into the mainstream. And then some of the mainstream blues artists, like Slim Harpo, lived down the street from me. So it was like a culture where, you could hear the blues, and even if you were, young enough to not know what it was, you knew it was something interesting and special that they were doing. In that age, at that time, it was front porch culture. Everybody was out on the front porch. So as soon as I was able to get a guitar, I was on the front porch, along with a bunch of other people, stopping and passing and talking about music. I remember one of the earliest blues licks I heard that I asked off guitar Kelly to show me. And it was just something to eat. He said, all you have to do is put your finger right here and just do this. And they had whole songs based around that kind of thing. And, that was my first introduction to Louisiana blues. Now I want to ask you a question. When were you first exposed to blues in your area or whatever?
Well, ironically, the very little that you just played. I grew up in a community in northeast Alabama where our black population was, about 2, maybe 3%.
Okay.
So most of the music that I was first introduced to when it came to hearing music live was gospel music. I hear it, and it was white gospel, what they call Southern gospel, in the churches, the old 4-note, 8-note kind of singing, Basso Law, as we would call it, Sacred Heart. When I learned the blues, or what the first blues I ever recall hearing, was late at night I would go out and listen to the radio. And I would listen to WCKY in Cincinnati, Ohio. My favorite station was WLAC in Nashville.
That's awesome.
And I'd hear, Randy's record shop in the house.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be on there playing blues. And I get to listening to it and I think, well, I like that. Now this is an era in the early to mid-50s. I was about 6 or 7 years old. And of course, Elvis was on the scene and everybody talking about rock and roll, but it didn't take me long to realize because I was listening to the WLAC radio station, that the music Elvis was playing was blues, particularly the earliest Elvis stuff, like when he was recording with Sam Phillips and Memphis. Now, back to that little bit, but I know we're limited on time, so I don't want to take up too much, but that little bit. One of the most popular guys on the radio.
So now you did that a little bit different.
I did
we do that.
A little bit different.
Let me see how you do it. Turn your guitar stuff.
Well, we might do it.
Okay.
Same note pattern.
Right.
Well, one of the most popular guys that was getting played not only on WLAC late at night, but also on our local radio station was Jimmy Reed. And that was his pattern.
Absolutely.
And so the same patterns you were being taught firsthand from, the guys down here, we were getting it secondhand on the radio, but it was the same licks and the same pattern. Jeff Cook of the group Alabama, he was one of my, contemporaries. We went to school together. We were all learning those licks together. So people like, we mentioned Slim Harpo, Scratch My Back, stuff like Jimmy Reed. Now what I call the hardcore blues, the stuff like Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, I was hearing that on WLAC, but some of it I wasn't quite getting into until later. in my life. But the jewelry stuff, the stuff that was often gets played on rock and roll stations, I knew that that was blues. And so I was listening to that and drawing more towards it.
Okay, now let me stop you right there. Let me ask you this, because this is kind of what happened to me in the bad blues scene. When I was, by the time I was 12, 13, and the blues became like taboo. It became one of those things where nobody wanted anything to do with the blues. And if you were a blues player, you was like a dinosaur. Nobody wanted to. So all of these blues players were kind of sitting around going, what happened? What happened? And this new music was coming on board, R&B music, and then funk, and adding fusion and all of that, and changing the whole motif of the music. Now, for instance, like some of the patterns we taught, it's a basic pattern, you know what I'm saying, that a lot of songs are based on. Now, by the 70s, the producers and different people were saying, let's not use that. That sounds a little bit old. Let's take the C that you played and let's turn it into a major 7. And let's take the, where you should go to A minor, let's go to D minor. So then they start changing the whole groove, and it was like, so blues kind of started evolving, started changing, getting into more, change the whole field. And then, so we were into like rhythm and blues all of a sudden, but the blues core was still underneath, and it was very interesting to see that transition. Now, what happened in your era? First of all, when